के कोई तो ख्वाब है, खुश है वही जो थोड़ा बेताब है। जिंदगी में कोई आरज़ू कीजिए, फिर देखिए।
Hello and good evening, Cinema Satsang viewers. How are you doing? Today it's a great day for us because we have a fantastic, fabulous singer with us, Caralisa Monteiro. I hope I've got the pronunciation right. The singer of Phir, of the iconic song of rock on fame. And let me frankly tell you, Caralisa, welcome to Cinema Satsang and welcome to our show. Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for coming. So let me tell you at the outset, very frankly, I had sent you an interview of Pubali, Rock On's writer. I was watching Rock On again in order to interview her. And then I fell in love with this song all over again, and I kept listening to it on loop. And then I thought, okay, who's the singer? Who's the singer of this song? Then I checked it out and I saw your name there, but I had no idea whatsoever as to about your details. And then I started researching, and my God, you're such an amazing personality. You're not just a great singer, but I didn't know you were the jingle queen, and you have sung over more than 7,000 jingles. Plus, you have an NGO, you work for cancer patients, and you work for fitness. So your journey has been amazing. So, you're not just a great singer, but an amazing personality. What a discovery for me. So, would you like to share with us some bits of your journey and, start from there?
Well, I don't know where to start, but I mean, all I can say is that music was the first part of the journey. And then, a musician is not, I'll just say this, a musician is not just one dimensional, you are an artist and you have a lot of sides to you. Some have many more dimensions to them, and some are focused on just a couple. After a long career doing jingles and stuff like that, I realized that, there's so much more to me than just, going to a recording studio, recording somebody else's work and coming back. I'm sure that my life is not just revolving around just doing that. So, and I, having, and also personal loss of, my family, lost them to cancer. So I thought, why not open something or start something that is related to cancer? And that's when the whole, we can go into detail about each and every aspect of it. So that's how my journey started. I mean, obviously it was music. Music is the soul behind everything. And after all, when you're a musician, it's all heart and soul. I mean, yes, there's a cerebral part to it, wherein you're writing and you're, using all the, using craft. But it's not just that. I mean, at the end of the day, if you put a lifeless soul, in front of an audience, and it won't touch you. So the most important thing is heart and soul for me. So, and then everything just led from one to another. So.
Yes, you've hit the nail on the head, heart and soul. And I think that is what struck with the listeners of the song Phir Dekhiye. Because I was just reading some of the comments on the where the song is there, and everybody it's stuck somewhere in the soul, that the way you rendered that song so beautifully. And
well, that song is, sorry, I'm interrupting you, but the song is just not only, it's also Shankar and Loy. They put so much of feel into that song. I mean, Ehsan's beautiful melody, Javed Akhtar's beautiful lyrics, and Loy's beautiful programming as well. I mean, all that together was just came together as one beautiful, masterpiece, would you say?
But you put your heart and soul into it. course, Javed Saab's lyrics and the music is there, but what they've given lyrics and music to several songs, but this song has stood the test of time, and now I think it's 10 years and people are still
Yeah.
listening to it and
Yeah, I
enjoying
mean,
it.
people are, it's strange, because I get a new message from a new person not every day, but there's always some, an experience that they've had with that song. It's like they've, rediscovered something in their lives. They've gone out of depression, and as it were, there was, people come together, relationships, come together and stuff like that. So when you read all of that, it's like, you realize that, okay, your career and your effort towards being a musician all your life and giving it that much of importance was not wasted. So that makes it all the more meaningful.
Yes, that song makes an impact, and as you said in one of your interviews that Farhan Akhtar has put it as his alarm clock. Song that
Yeah, he
I
told me
heard.
that. Yeah.
And this song comes, you had also said, I was listening to one of your interviews, that it comes in the end credits, but you did not refuse to do it. And yeah, that choice which you made.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's something that I've always loved. Shankar Ehsaan Loy's music. Sales music has always been, and in fact, the reason why I respect them so much, and there's a reason why I do that, is simply because they were the first to give credits to every single singer on a song, and that was very new for our industry. Wherein if you you wrote a part in something, and you would never get credit for it, and it'll just get lost. You would kind of get lost. I was just so blessed that I wrote stuff on their songs, and they were the first to give credit to all the singers and the musicians that were part of it, I would say. So I always respected that for them. I mean, respected them for that. So yeah, so when when Ehsan asked me to sing that song, I was like, I'm sure it's a beautiful song, but he alarmed me about it. This wouldn't be the first song on the whatever. It'll be in the, so I was like, it's cool. I mean, it's because it's y'all. I'm really cool with that.
And you are a very versatile singer, and you have a classical style in you. I think Western classical and also jazz. I think you sing all of that. Am I right? And I also heard some songs in French. You sing in French as
Yes.
well.
Well, this is all an amalgamation of all different styles that are inside. So there's between these two years, is a mix up of a lot of things. And there are different cultures, there is a different sounds. Actually, I've always had this thing for mimicking, but in the sense that while I'm also mimicking, I'm also being able to create. I think that's my biggest gift. So while I'm doing that, it's simultaneous. Obviously, it's like also producing it out of my mouth. So it's like it all happens together. It's like a spur of the moment, feel, spontaneous creation. So a lot of the times where all the 7,000 jingles happened, wherever I had to create stuff, was that very core of being able to create stuff. So it was like I saw the film, I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I would just jump into the recording booth and just create something. And most of the time, what I would do is this whole, I would create phonetics where I would see that phonetic really working with the music and the film. And a lot of the films were just, they were not real words, but they were just phonetics that sounded beautiful for the film. Uh, they call it something. There's a word that, Lisa Gerard, it's like, there's a word for it. I mean, there's a certain where you use sounds, you create sounds as a language even. So until when I was doing it, I didn't know that I was doing it, but it's something that I had always. So because I loved the sound of phonetics, I learned Italian. I did also learn French. So that's why I wrote in French and Italian for a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, these were fabulous experiences, to work with people and write stuff.
Yes, yes, yes. I was all good artists take something and adapt it
Yeah.
to produce something completely new and extraordinary. Uh, yes, 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 yes. And that I am not. Are you a trained singer? Are you a trained?
I'm
No.
not a trained singer. I think the only reason why I'm a singer is because as a child, I listened to my mom and dad sing. My father was a trained classical singer, but there was no way that he trained me. But I just listened to a lot of his music, whatever little I could listen to. It was a time where you had just vinyl tapes, those vinyl records. I mean, so a couple of them and I listened to, but my main thing was listening to his voice and listening to my mom's voice. So that was how I was able to, in some strange way, uh, adapt some kind of technique into my own voice. So I would say I was also genetically given that, the voice box, but I also had this thing of, how would you say, adapting and, reaching out and finding exactly where the sound was coming from, stuff like that. So I really didn't strain at all. In fact, because of the kind of creative person I was, I always hesitated from training myself, because I felt in some strange way I might just become this mold, and I'd be so structured that I wouldn't be able to get out of that structure. My mind would just get set into something very specific. So I let myself free and was able to do much more, I think.
Like a God's gift for you. Uh,
I would
of
say that,
course,
yeah.
of course, coupled with your hard work and dedication and talent.
Yeah, I think it's just talent. I would say it was very hard.
I also listened to one song called Hallelujah. I think it's there on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
You sung it
Mm.
beautifully, and it's almost
Thank
in
you.
tears when you hear that rendition. It's connected to God in some way. That whole song and feeling is.
Yeah, I guess it's a spiritual.
Uh,
I would say the voice is connected to your soul. I mean,
mm,
for me at least. So, I mean, whether it is, I'm not so much into religious aspects, because I'm not religious at all. But certainly, the spiritual aspect of a human being connected to oneself and to the greater, the the universe, or whatever you call it, is important to know that side of you, even if you don't understand it too well, but you're always searching.
mm. I don't know much about technicalities of the singing part, but फिर देखिए में the हरकतें जो, if you can call it that, the
Yeah.
the utar chadao and हरकतें, and that's really lovely, that the stretching part. I hope I can make you and ab in my bad
No, I
mimicry.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess it's my own, bringing my own technique of singing, I guess, into a song like that, wherein, you know, a lot, and I'm quite sure that if I was working with another music director, they may have not been too open to me singing certain notes that way, because a lot of them are very traditional. They like to stick to a very certain type of singing. They don't like even a little vibrato, which is a natural thing actually for lots of people. Which was, thank goodness, Ehsan and Loy let me, be open about using the nuances of what I used in the song, because they realized that it was so powerful and more and stronger than having to use a traditional way of singing. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So
you were
that
stretching
note
the
which is,
words, literally
I was doing
stretching
it
the
the way
words.
I felt, was I was interpreting the song that way. And if they had stopped me from doing that, I think it would have not been the same feel. It would have been just a very usual kind of everyone singing type of thing.
Yeah, you.
Which I was doing anyway. I was doing it in advertising, I was doing it in other songs as well, wherein people want you to do a certain kind of technique of singing, and they want you to stick to it and not have vibrato, and be very very, very
Precise.
militant about it. Yes. So it's not even, did you say precise? It's not
Yeah, yeah.
precise. It's just, it's just so empty. It's so, it's like when you do a dance song. I'll just give you an example. When you sing a note, they'll tell you, because they process it so much, because it's a dance song and the whole song is so electronic, they'll want you to sing the note without any vibrato, and it's very straight. So it's like if you sing, so they use that note and then they do whatever they want with it. So that's a different thing. But this was not it. This is like a soulful song. You're inspiring people to believe and to hope. And it has to come from the soul. It has to be organic. And, without having to think of all this, I just went into the studio and I just sang it the way I felt was a song to be sung. And they narrowed down the lyrics. We came back again and I just did it. I gave it the same soul. And they did not say, don't do it this way. I was not even sure whether it was going to go through, because although they all loved it, like Javed Saab just loved it, and Ehsan loved it, and Loan, they all loved it. But because, as I said, we're still stuck in a very traditional way of singing, technique and everything. I think we still need to get out of that mindset of, how a Hindi song should be sung. So that's one thing that I think has changed a lot. But, in terms of singers, we're still stuck into that thing. On the Hindi, you have to sing it this way.
Yeah, that's sad because, that's sad.
You can do so much more. You can express yourself so much more. It doesn't have to be a certain particular strict way.
But in ads also, I found some of the jingles I was listening to, that there's variation in that, like Limca is different from Ponds.
Yeah.
Ponds is different from, I think, L&T. All three I found different. Limca I found a little softer, and Ponds I found a little bassy, and L&T I found a little classical. These three I've just noted it down. I thought all three were very differently done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's like whatever's in your box, your magic box, I look at it that way. You just pull it out, whatever's relevant to whatever's relevant to whatever music is made, you use that. Like sometimes they would tell me to sing in a certain way, and I knew it was just not matching. And I would always say, can I do it this way? Just see if you like it. And then you go back. So whatever. Some people want it a certain way. Some people like, wow, this is really working. So then you're in synergy with the, music director and the producers and whoever. So yeah.
You remember all those Limca, Ponds, and L&T, which I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Limca, of course.
Limca, because it was played a lot more. But a lot of ads that I had done, unless I heard it again, I would kind of remember. But the experiences, some were very, I remember them. The other were not so many memories. There were too many times wherein I had to do, what the funny part is that even though we're talking about jingles, when you go into a studio, you basically are selling a product, a brand. You're not selling an album. You're selling a brand. So when you're selling a brand, you have to keep in mind the client's needs, which are expressed through the music director, basically, and the production house that's made the film. So everyone together there tells you exactly through the film. Like you watch the film and you know exactly what you. So it's a very usually generic kind of thing. You can't go hallelujah on the song or on the jingle. You can't do that. You can't blast it out. Although there are some times when they want that kind of, they want a very generic rock song. So then you go blasting into the thing. And then if it's a very specific kind of genre. But otherwise, it's a very generic thing. So what I used to do is just to be a little, how would you say, crafty. I would take the jingle that they wanted, which was very generic, and I would try and insert a few little, world kind of sounds into it, and make it different, so that I was happy with it, for all posterity, and that everyone else also was happy. So that made everyone happy. So I just tried to make it as different as from the last one.
No, yeah, if you Ponds was a little bassy and LNT had a little classical flavor to it. And of course, Limca is so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also that French Vaishnav Janto, I heard that which you did in French with the bhajan Vaishnav Janto Tere Kahiye
Oh,
Re
yeah.
in the
That was for the
opening
International
ceremony.
Film Festival.
That's
Yes, again,
also
that was.
very nice take.
So Shankar wanted me to just write in a few languages because we wanted to represent various languages in various films, various countries. So I chose the languages. I decided I do German. Did I do Italian? And I think I did Chinese. Yes, Chinese as well. So it was very varied, So like, it was a lovely concept. And they were all like, yay, singing in Chinese. And I don't even know the language. So I was also a little, because at that point of time, I didn't have anybody to tutor me or, coach me. It was just such a short period of time. And then I just went with my gut. I try to listen to enough of Chinese and, listen to the phonetics in in each word and make sure that, like, I ran through it a lot of times to make sure that it didn't sound like some other words or something else. And I ran through the thing again and, translated it and stuff like that. And Italian, of course, Italian and German was something also. I love German. The sounds, it's a beautiful sound. So it has this softness, but yet it is a little strong. So that was not a problem because I've heard German at least. But Chinese is a very, very tricky language if you've not studied it at all.
I missed the Chinese. I don't know. I didn't listen to the Chinese. I have to go back.
No,
and
Chinese as well. Chinese as well. It was fun. It was a fun thing.
Germany, I think, is one of your favorite countries because I saw it somewhere. I think on your channel.
No, I went Germany. No, not really. It's just another language in Europe. It's a lovely language.
Yeah. And yes, you also came out with an album. Unfortunately, I have not heard that. Would you like to share something about that? Your album?
Illusions, the only English album, and actually one of my only independent albums that I did. It also happened to be released at the same time I ran to Pune. I did an ultra marathon over 78 kilometers, if I'm right. We ran over 3 days. When I say we, me and my husband both ran, on the highway, the expressway, sorry, from Bombay to Pune. And it was a very, very, how would you say, it was a very tiring is a very mild word, but my body was like, and I'm not even like, till then I was just a marathon runner. Like I ran marathons as in I did a half a marathon, but I went straight from half a marathon straight away to doing an ultra marathon, which was the first night I did like 55 kilometers. And then I stopped and I did another 20. Yeah. And then the next night, and so the total is 180 kilometers, sorry. It's 180 kilometers from Bombay to Pune. So yeah, we covered 78 on the first night. And then the second and the third night we reached, outskirts of Pune. And then I ran in an extra 5 kilometers in a campus because I had parents coming there and they ran with me. And then from there, we went straight and finished it at the hotel. So because of that, I did release also an album, and I wanted it to be related to the NGO that I started and founded called Angel in Disguise, because one of the songs on the album is also Angel in Disguise. So it all culminated in one big thing wherein I started the NGO Angel in Disguise, and the album was released, and the proceeds went to all the cancer patients from who needed help and stuff like that. And if you read about it, you'll know a lot of the information is online. So that was the idea of Illusion, which is the name of the album. And the Illusion was sung, Vishal Dadlani was featured in that song as well. And a lot of great artists were part of the industry, also were part of the album.
Mhm. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your NGO and your fitness work?
Oh, well, I'm a runner, basically. I started running about 8 years ago. And the reason why I did that, because I said, from not being an athlete at all or not being into any sport, I wanted to be at least fit. And that was the reason why I ran. The reason why I did the marathon from Bombay to Pune, the ultra marathon, was basically to encourage people to fitness, as against because I mean, and also awareness of cancer. I mean, it's just that I wanted to do that for my parents, just in their name and homage to them. So I ran, and I said this was always a thought that I wanted to do, in the sense of opening starting something for cancer patients. And that's why Angel in Disguise Foundation happened. And yeah, I mean, and my idea of opening that foundation is just not only to help cancer patients, it's also helping women in distress, women who, poor women and children who are abused. So things like that, wherein I want to be of some help at least. And that's why I started that. And of course, the music always stays on, but these things are part of your life. You have to do them. You have to give back. You have to give back in some way. So that's the reason.
Any musical inspirations you have? Any
musical inspirations? God, so many. Being part of the, like influenced by Western music. I mean, in the 80s, there were so many brilliant musicians who were just brilliant singers, writers. I mean, there were so many. I mean, I can't even say, because then I would be, downplaying the others. But of course, I would say the best teachers for me for anything were my parents, because I listened to them, and because of that sound that they thankfully sounded great, I wanted to be a musician all my life. They were the first people with really beautiful voices. So
yes,
I guess that's the reason.
so lovely. And would you like to give any message this difficult times which we are going through to
Yeah.
people, to aspiring singers, to everybody basically? Anything, because you are a survivor basically, and you have you had a very I would say, if I can use the word, tough maybe life, and then but you've come out and you've reached a place, and you achieved so much, and not just in terms of in like social success, but overall as a person, as a human being as well, I would say.
Well, I don't want to sit here and preach to musicians, because it's really very tough. And there is no way that, my words would bring any sort of, source of, them having a career. And when I say having a career is when you're actually paid. And right now the situation is not very bright for everyone, because there's so much of unemployment, and otherwise anyway, leave aside the musicians. But all I can say is that, if you can survive this as a musician, and if you can pull through till a bit of time wherein, things will just get better, then I think it's a choice that you make. I mean, there's no one who can tell you what to do. You have to know, you have to have the wisdom and the knowledge and understanding your weaknesses and your strengths. If you think that, the situation is so really bad, and you're really young, you have a lot more time than somebody who's already a musician for, like who's had a career for a long time and now is having it bad. So there are two different kinds of musicians. One who's, who's been a musician for a while and just having a bad time, really bad time. That's a very different situation. But when you're young, you have the ability to mold into, various other things. You can do other things. So all I can say is either which way, you have to be able to tell yourself, this is your journey. Yes, people are dependent on you, and you have to make that choice. And whichever choice you make, whether you say, okay, I'm a musician, I'll never stop being a musician, right? But right now, what is the need of the hour? I need to do it. And I can always, get back into playing music. All I'm saying is, why I'm saying this is, don't get into get yourself into a place where you're depressed because you don't have work, and don't get into a place where it's affecting your mental health. Whatever you do, it should, and especially music, if it makes you unhappy, don't do it. Like in whatever way, because I can tell you this, there are a lot of people right now who are struggling to get a job because of the situation. I mean, there are bigger companies closing down because of the inability to, to service the whatever. I mean, just try and keep yourself together. That's all I'm saying. And if music can keep it together, at least in terms of your everyday, if you're not a musician, that is, then that's why we are here. But all I want to say is to the young people, don't lose hope if you're a musician or a singer. Keep working at your craft, even though, you may not be able to be a professional. Keep working on your craft. And if you're really, really good, I'm sure the universe will give you that moment when you will be proud of yourself. For more such content, please like, share, and subscribe to Cinema Satsang.